I quit my job and then, I pulled her along and it was difficult. I mean, you have this comfort of a paycheck falling into your account every month. When you're planning an event, everything you plan, but do you ever put a checklist on where will you dispose the waste after your event? We don't. She has learned to be patient. I have learned to be restless. Being open-minded really helps. So that's something which both of us have really learned. Personal, the personal willingness is missing.
It is out of sight for me, out of mind for me.
And what are we doing with landfills? We are just extending, and we are taking lands again and again and again. And probably, a time will come when, we will go until Nagpur and Nagpur will come until Kompalli.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. We've been planning this for so long. And so thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your project Oorvi and how did it start?
So it was sometime in 2018 end or so we came up with this idea that we wanted to do something for the women and because we live in this part of the city which has got a lot of rural area in its background, so we thought we should be doing something for them, but we were not really able to pinpoint what we would like to do. Towards end of 2018 is when we got this idea that floral waste recycling or rejuvenation was happening in Kanpur, and that actually we liked that video. We happened to see it, both of us are friends, we happened to see it, and we thought why don't we do something like this, and we spoke to each other and agreed on this. At that point, we did some research on our own, and we got to know that nothing like this was happening anywhere other than Kanpur as such. So Telangana, we had never heard of anything like that happening. So we thought, why not do something here? And we always knew, home composting. Composting with vegetables or the green waste at home, we always knew. So we thought maybe we could start with composting and then do it. So we then took this idea to family and friends, and there were a few friends who bought the idea, who were willing to help us, and with their help, we went to a couple of temples, spoke to them, and towards the end of 2018, December, we were able to convince a particular temple in Padmarao Nagar, and that was the first temple actually. They came forward and they said, we wouldn't mind, giving the flowers to you, and
in fact, we had placed the drum on Children's Day.
Yeah, November 14th was when we had placed
temple.
Mm-hmm.
And while their flower discard was very less, it was hardly 5 kilos that came in a week as such. So it was very, very less of flowers. So the initial idea was that we start composting and stuff like that. So nevertheless, we started work. So in January 1st, we began proper operations as such. We started collecting that particular waste, and in the meanwhile, we were trying to develop incense sticks at home. We tried using the flowers that we have in our own garden, and we started trying to make incense sticks. The whole family sitting together and rolling and kneading the dough and stuff like that. Then from around 20 kgs a month kind of a scene. In January, we spoke to the Sarpanch in Gundlampochampalli, told this is the idea, again with friends and family who were willing to help us, and so we spoke to the Sarpanch. He was very willing. He said, it's quite nice that it's happening in our area. So he was gracious enough to ask us to start work in the community hall in the village. And that's how we began. That gave us a confidence that we could take in more flowers, not just this 20 kgs which is coming from one temple. So from then on, we went to another temple, and thus it started increasing, and we employed our first 2 ladies in the month of January 2019.
Before that, you were doing all by yourself?
Yeah, it was because there was nothing much. We didn't have a place as such to call our facility where we could get this, and doing at home would be difficult. Living in gated communities, that would be difficult. So we continued to collect, and then once we had this community hall, we started bringing it And then there was a place like a workplace kind of atmosphere, and then we started working there. We started drying it, we started sorting it, and slowly.
Sorry to cut.
Yeah.
So before this, you were only composting, or?
Yeah, it was all going together. It was going together. It began as composting.
Composting was the first idea that we took into.
Yeah. Then once we started, getting more flowers week after week, from different temples, then the whole process of trying agarbattis in a much proper way started. And towards April, we were kind of ready with the prototype of an incense stick and soap as well. And that's when we realized, okay, now we are ready to register the company. I guess we are now fine. We know that there is a possibility that we could come out with products. And we went to AID and NAARM, which is an incubation center for the Agriculture University. They had the incubation center, business incubation center, and they were too happy to incubate us, and that's when they were happy with the prototypes that we had taken. Although it required a lot of refinement in terms of the quality, in terms of its appearance, everything. But nevertheless, we were ready with it. We knew that this was a possibility. And April, we registered our company, and from there on, we just, it was moving milestone after milestone. Yeah, we've reached now.
So when did you think of doing something like this? So can you both please tell us about your life before Oorvi? What was it like?
Basically looking into family business. We were into plastic manufacturing. So I was looking into it, not completely, but on and off kind of a thing. She was actively engaged in a family injection molding company, while I was a full-time employee in a international freight forwarding company, and I was managing the region here. It was probably the the tiresomeness of corporate career that I chose to look beyond a job. Before starting Oorvi, it took us almost about 2 years or so to come up with Oorvi. Though we had many plans before of starting, say, a Goodwill store or anything which would help in creating sustainable source of income for the women to the place where we live.
Yes.
Closer to the place.
It was of course it was not much on a enterprising scale or in the enterprise direction. We were more thinking about an NGO
kind of,
or an organization which would just help and stuff like that. The enterprising idea came about in 2018, and 2019 is when we realized, okay, it's going to be a proper private limited company, and that's how we started. So it was in 2018 I quit my job, and then I pulled her along, and both of us then decided, okay, this is going to be it, and both of us plunged into it in 2018.
Initially when we started also, it was like we would do it on on a weekend basis, or say twice or thrice in a week. Then gradually we realized we need to devote full time into it. Only then will it be a proper sustainable company.
Yeah.
So you quit the job before starting this?
Yeah. I quit
how hard? How hard was it to quit something which is paying?
No, it is difficult. It is definitely difficult. See, while you're salaried, I wouldn't say working woman, I would rather say I was a salaried working woman. It was difficult. You have this comfort of a paycheck falling into your account every month. You don't have to really ask anybody for your nitty-gritty spending and all of that. So that is a big comfort that you are letting go. And of course, the whole, as they say, the fear of the unknown. You don't know what you're getting into. Whether you succeed or not is a different thing, but then you don't even know what you're getting into. So yeah, it was difficult. It was a difficult choice, but somewhere I had made up my mind that I was tired of a 9 to 5. It was not typically 9 to 5. It was like a 14, 15 or close to 18 hours of job. I was tired of it primarily. And if not anything, I was also looking at taking a break and then deciding what to do. So that's when this happened, and everything fell into place at the right time.
So since what you said, I am understanding that you had a intention of doing something for the people, and then the idea of the Oorvi came. So why did you choose this? You could have chosen something else also. Like, what made you choose this as a thing?
You mean floral waste?
Yeah,
as such?
floral waste in particular.
Okay. So, like what she said, I mean, we are friends. We keep meeting very often. We live close by. Our children go to the same class, actually, in the same school. So that way, there is a lot of interaction that happens. And we were actually, I mean, we were already discussing about, since we live somewhere here, we were already discussing of, okay, what do we do for these women here? So there were a lot of ideas that came up. I mean, should we look at, starting some tailoring kind of classes, or stitching classes, or craft, or maybe look at even composting, how to compost
Teach
their own
them
garbage.
basically, so that, I mean, see, they say close by, but the industries over here that do not work on a yearly basis. It's like for 6 months they have the job, then after 6 months it's not.
Yeah, the ladies, they are laid off. So so they need employment throughout the year. So the idea was, okay, I mean, we were always toying with this idea of what could we do, and then it was about, okay, should we start something like a Goodwill store where we, get stuff from outside, whoever wants to donate and stuff like that, give it off. And so these were the ideas that came up. And then when this particular video that we saw of Help Us Green then, and that's when it triggered the both of us. We thought, why not we really start this? Then we started reading about it quite a lot. We researched about it quite a lot. We even, we went ahead and read about the company quite a bit. And then we realized there was nothing really happening on this particular front anywhere in India. And
the amount of, I mean, when we were researching the amount of waste that comes
incidentally, that was the Batukama time. Incidentally, it was the Batukama time, and that's when we realized, oh my God, I mean, this problem is real. So that's
so a little bit of research, like going into the markets, the main markets where actual flowers come in. That is when we realized, I mean, the amount of waste that gets in, I mean, the flowers that get into the market is huge, and there's no proper disposal system as such in place in Hyderabad. I mean, that triggered a little more.
We realized that, exactly. I mean, nobody, I mean, like I would like to say this always, segregation is never in our DNA in India as such. We don't want to segregate waste also. And flowers though is like they say the dur ki baat. Flowers are like beautiful. They are natural. They are biodegradable. So what's the problem with flowers? That's I mean, 2 years earlier, before this before this thing germinated in our mind, even we never considered flowers to be bad. Once they are used, rather. So this triggered, actually, I think it was the Batukama season and that Navaratri season that actually triggered, because it was timely. We had seen this video and then we were thinking about it, and then suddenly we realized, oh my God, this is really a problem in the very state that we are living in. And that's when we started taking it up seriously. And we felt, I mean, when we started, we felt it is much more simpler of our waste that could be handled. So that was also one reason that we thought, because both of us don't have a science background. So we felt this was probably the easiest of the waste to be tackled.
And also, I mean...
why do you say science background for them? Like, in what sense?
In what sense? In the sense, see, when you are getting into any kind of waste management, say the biochemistry part of it, the chemical, the chemistry component has to be stronger. I mean, you need to have some basic understanding of it. The basic understanding that both of us had was till the 10th grade, so nothing beyond that. So that's what I meant. I mean, anybody getting into a particular industry need to have at least, some bit of a knowledge about it. So this seemed to be fairly well suited for us at that point.
And this was not very well documented kind of a thing. I mean, the floral waste as such.
Yeah.
So we had to go through many papers, I would say. Which
that's what I said. When we started, it felt like it was very simple. It felt like it was the most simplest of the ways to handle. Yeah.
What were the few startling facts you came across while, going through your research and like in waste management, in terms of how we are handling the waste and what are its effect on global warming?
First thing is we do not own our waste. I mean, the way we own, when we buy flowers, say, we don't give a second thought as to how we are going to dispose them. I mean, that is not there in our dictionary at all. I mean, owning up your waste is definitely not there. I mean,
yeah. First thing was the startling. I mean, the most startling fact was that we never considered. Now, if I were to take flowers as a waste, we never considered it a waste at all. So similarly, you take vegetables or the peels or anything like that. We don't consider them to be a waste at all. We feel it is natural, it is biodegradable, and it just vanishes into the earth. But that is.
I don't think people think it. They just think. I mean, they don't even bother to think.
Not at all. Absolutely. So there is no thought given to it. So the very fact that as she said, I mean that we don't have this thing in us to even own our waste. We never plan. I mean, when you're planning an event, everything you plan. But do you ever put a checklist on where will you dispose the waste after your event? We don't. And all that we probably do is go buy garbage bags.
That's all.
That's all. So that's the biggest thing that we learnt.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, before that, even we were the same. We gave too much into it, too much thinking into it when we started working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we realized, okay, I mean, this is such a renewable resource. Why should it go into as waste? Why not convert it into proper products which can be used daily? That was the thought.
And the effects on the climate change and all.
Of course. Of course.
Can you highlight few?
See, the whole point is when we are very specific to flowers, if I have to say, of course, I mean, the understanding is right that it is natural, it is biodegradable, everything is fine. But one is the amount of flowers which is being generated, which is being produced. Okay, one is the whole commercialization and the globalization part of it. The second is again, the cultural aspect of the waste. Okay, so one, if you were to take about the commercial part of it, see, flowers is not again or flower usage is not central to India. It is a global phenomenon. In every culture, I mean, from birth to death and everything in between, you use flowers. Okay, it's just that according to your geographies, the kind of flowers that you use differs. That's about it. Otherwise, everybody is using flowers. Okay. So in India, of course, on the commercial part again. So what happens is now this commercial, the whole demand, global demand for flowers has pushed, just like in any other product, has pushed the floriculturists or the flower farmers to cultivate it on a much higher level, at a much higher, for the output. What they do is then they resort to all kind of enhancers, like be it chemical, manure or fertilizers or any kind of other sprays which will help preserve the flower, the shelf life, enhance the shelf life. Because now flowers are, I mean, as you can see, I mean, in these 2 years, one thing that both of us learned is flowers are not as green as it seems to be. Right. The kind of carbon footprints that it leaves is very high. I mean, imagine it was very recently, soon after the Valentine's that I read, close to 9 tons of flowers left more than 30 tons of carbon emission. That's the kind of footprint in USA and in one city. So you can just imagine what's the kind of the cascading effect that it has over the entire globe. So that's the number that we are talking about, right? So that is one aspect of it. The second part about disposing of it, what happens in a culture like in India, most of the cultures believe that once you have celebrated or once you have used flowers in a particular way, you cannot throw it just like that. You have to put it into water. You cannot dispose it into trash. But the problem is that probably those knowledge in whatever years that it was made, it was good for those times. Now and we don't have a reverse flowing.
Quantity used at those times was
very less
compared to
and it was much more naturally grown rather than what we are doing right now. Other than what happens is these flowers, I mean, once they are in the water, they are actually going to clog. our water bodies are no longer as flowing as they were earlier. It is everywhere clogged with plastics or whatever trash. So what happens is, once they start disintegrating there or decomposing there, one by its own, secondly in combination with other waste that is around it, with other organic matter which is around it, it tends to leave a lot of gases which are not good for the environment. One, the aquatic life is threatened there, because immediately it is going to block or choke the water level from oxygen. So immediately your aquatic life goes for a toss. Indirectly, somehow human beings, animals are going to consume that. It is getting into our body. Similarly, landfills also. Okay, even if you were to throw these into landfills, what happens is you are burdening the landfills again with some other organic matter or whatever, with the plastic or whatever is there. It is going to decompose, and unnecessary, harmful gases are getting leaked, and your soil is getting contaminated. So either ways, it's not healthy for you. So this is what we wanted to highlight with our work, that use flowers, but then please know that you need to even dispose it properly.
So flower waste is a good point to start, I feel, for people to make them aware that you need to segregate your waste. So did you also think in that way, that let us start with flowers and then make people more aware about the general segregating?
Yes, in a way, yes. Like when we said, we thought flowers were the most simplest of the things to begin with. That was the idea. Okay, let us start with flowers. Okay, hardly did we know that in 2 years also we will still be doing flowers and trying to improve that. But nevertheless, that was the idea, that we need to start with flowers and see how best we could spread this thing around. Because even in this particular field that we are doing with flowers itself, there are a lot of waste that comes in. I can show you through. Look at this. This is another decoration item which has come in. But then there is thermocol. There is all of that. So
yeah.
So this has come from an event. Okay, from a temple actually. So flowers are fine. But see how complicated we have made, decorations and celebration for that matter.
This is okay, still simpler. We get flowers which are pinned with needles.
Yeah.
Okay, to segregate that itself is such a big hazard for us.
So what has happened is the whole complication of simple affairs. What needn't be, we have complicated that. After holy waste is when realized, worship really doesn't require complicated garlands. A simple thread garland or simple flowers is more than enough. You don't need to have those plastic straws or silver threads along it, or any kind of thermocol to highlight it, or even foams to keep it fresh for days together.
So did you see any change in people, like who are slowly starting to give you the flowers? Are they also moving towards segregating other waste?
Yeah, definitely yes. In this last 2 years, that's one change. A big change that we have seen in people, especially the event managers. During the COVID times, soon after the lockdown was released and we started work, there were no flowers, there were no temples opened then, and when the temples opened also, they were not, devotees were not allowed to take in flowers. At that point, in fact, when the events had started opening up and the marriages were beginning to be conducted, it was the flowers from the events which actually kept us going. So there were probably in 2000, before COVID, if it was about 2 or 3 event managers, right now we have about close to 10 of them who have tied up with us, who tell that soon after any event that we conduct, we are willing to give you all our floral decor. So there is a quite a big shift. I should also tell that with due credit to all of them, we never really faced an opposition from any place that we went to. Talking about flowers, the moment they understood the idea, they were all willing to help. So be it the temples, be it the dargah, be it any politician or even say any kind of organizations, they were willing to help. They said, okay, we can do. In fact, there have been a couple of temples where the residents have actually called us up and told that there is a temple here and you could start. So we have around 5 or 6 temples where the residents have taken the initiative and they coordinated the entire thing for us. Then it was only our job to go, contact them, place bins and come back.
The basic realization what we had was, you need to give solutions. People are ready to do, but they don't know what needs to be done.
Correct.
When it comes to,
I think there is a huge void of leadership.
Yes. You certainly, it's not only the problem that you approach them with. If you can showcase them, more than showcase them with a solution.
Yes.
Then there are buyers. Yeah.
In fact, the generation, the current generation is definitely much more aware than us and ready to go that extra step, take that extra step to, make sure that whatever they use is eco-friendly, plus if possible they can dispose it well. That's what we have also seen. During this 2 years that we have been working, definitely there's a shift. Yes, it's very slow, but there's a shift.
There is hope.
Yeah, there's hope.
Yeah, and also in the school curriculum, they need to focus more on those.
See, again, school, the whole point is while we tell that, it needs to be taken up, well, even I have spoken about it. I've told that it needs to be taken up in schools. It is where we start. But the point is, school is just for a couple of hours or so, and then after they come back home, what do they see? Right. So the change that school brings in is going to happen only probably after about 2 generations. Because these children grow up, they start practicing what they have learned. Because currently the children who learn this in school come back and see the parents doing the opposite. So they are in a dilemma. Yeah. So I probably would see another 2 generations to pass by when they would be really doing it.
You talked like there is a positive change. There are people willing to, take things. But did you also feel like people do it for some time and then again they get back to the same old habits? So how hard it is to, change this years of mindset that...
See,
there are 2 sets that we have encountered as such while working. So one set is readily available. Okay, you are going to manage my floral waste well, take it. It's like that. And the other one would be like, what would I get in return? Or will you be paying back anything for me? So, there are 2 sets of people, two different diversions, I would say. The one set which is readily giving it to us never questions. They are always there, they are always doing it, and they are in fact connecting us with more people. The second set, definitely it will take a little more time. When they see the first set doing more and then it starts slowly spreading, then the shift will definitely be there. Probably a little longer with the second set is what I would say.
Yeah.
So when you first had the idea of starting something like this and the real work that happened on the ground, how long did it take for you to start acting on it? Why I'm asking is, like, many people have great intentions to do things, but we tend to procrastinate. We'll start, we see challenges and we are not able to start those things. So how long did it take for you? And
actually, I think we readily jumped into it. I don't think
both of us are quite over enthusiastic, I would say.
Yeah, both of us are quite, yes, we are enthusiastic over a lot of things. As people, we are like that. So I guess the moment we had decided, we took the plunge. We didn't even think too much about it. And even to this day, it is we are learning on the job. So we are like, okay, आता है, देखते हैं क्या करना है, let the situation come, we'll cross the bridge as and when it comes. And at that particular time, whatever solution is available at that particular time, we kind of tend to take that up after. It is only then that we start thinking about things. So that was, I guess, yes, we were fortunate to find each other who jumped into action immediately rather than thinking and overthinking. That is exactly like what you said. Over rationalizing a particular thought you tend to procrastinate. You tend to just keep it away.
Procrastinating, I mean, it definitely leads to dying up of that thought, and you have another thought jumping up.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, I mean, we had a talk about this. I mean,
how was it that you know, we never really thought
and did something.
I think this also happens with, like, when you have something like right intention to do things, you get that confidence to.
It does. Yeah. Intention definitely matters. So as I said, I mean, there was always this whole, you know, kind of a dream that we both had, that we needed to do something for this area, and especially to work with women. And I think that desire actually propelled us. So the moment this idea came up, we just lapped it up. I mean, we said, let us do it. Innovation to hota rahega. We, you know, if not anything, we know how to compost. So let us continue with composting and then see what else we could do. I mean, okay, one company has come up with incense. Let's see what we could do with that. So we were able to bring out soaps with floral discards. So that's something, you know, which is really encouraging for us. Okay, it is not that, you know, we need to follow somebody with an idea. So you have an intention, get into it, and then you think about it, you start innovating.
What were the few initial challenges when you started, like practically on the ground?
On the ground, challenges definitely. I mean, to get space definitely, and
probably to, I mean, see,
even a few temples or people for that matter to convince them. It does take time. That's about on the procurement part, and also on the selling part. I mean, that came quite later, but definitely there is still this thing about you know, okay, these are flowers which are used in a particular way, so you should not be reusing
it for,
you know, in any way. So there's that mindset that we had to fight. There is that ideology that we had to really debate with.
But that also was quite a
very few actually. So challenge, yes. I mean, it was probably a lot to do with thinking about where the finances would come with, and then of course the logistics part of it. In the sense, what do we do? How do we do it? You know, what are required? So it was more on the what, when, and you know, where to get things done. Yeah. Rather than anything other intangibles as such. But there were a lot of these things as to what are the certifications required, what are the licenses required. I mean, these
we still are figuring
out. So these were probably the problems, the funds, you know,
But more or less, thankfully, we are quite blessed. Yeah. Whomever we approached, they helped us positively. I mean, barring a few
which is fine, but I guess we always we say we are blessed that way. Wherever we've been or whoever we have met, we have learned something and come back. So that way it has always been very positive. And somebody has always been able to give us something.
Right.
You know, I just hope we were able to give them something.
I don't know about that.
So what were the few learnings of this initial learning period, great struggle period?
Oh, a lot.
You can highlight few.
Yeah.
Where do you start from? I
mean, first thing was, you know, if she has learned to be patient, I have learned to be restless. We've traded each other's problems. Seriously, yes. See, we've learned one, not to take people on face value. You know, that's definitely a lesson. While you know, people seem to be supportive, till what levels are they supportive? You know, until what level can they help you? I think both of us have realized that one thing. The most important is that one thing that we also tell people whom we meet who are aspiring entrepreneurs, whatever, is like, you know, just take a plunge. Don't think too much. If you have an idea, I mean, just do it. Things, I mean, see, success or failure is even not a surety for anybody who has planned 100 things. Yeah, I mean, if not anything, 2020 should have taught us that. Yeah. So this is one thing that if you're passionate about something, if you have one idea which you think fairly enough will work, just start doing it. So which is the same in life also. I mean, anything that you are in a dilemma, if you feel that, you know, nahi ho sakta hai to kar lo. the more you think about it, you are not going to reach anywhere. And yeah, of course, another thing was about, anybody coming in any form. I mean, they are lessons for you. They teach you something.
Positive or negative.
Whatever, but there is a lesson for you, and we are open to that. So being open-minded really helps. So that's something which both of us have really learnt. So we never say no to anybody now. Let them come with any kind of request, or they, whatever. We tend to listen to them. We tend to engage with them, because
It opens up possibilities for us also.
Exactly. You never know what clicks with whom. So these are, I think, the 3 or 4 things that we have really learnt. Yeah.
You said that you were working in a plastic.
I was not working. It's our family owned business. So we manufacture fan parts, basically plastic injection molding unit we have. Yeah. I was working there. I mean, it was not a completely dedicated time over there, but then yes, I was involved in the business.
So I was about to ask you, like, did you see adverse effect of plastic? Use of plastic?
See, ours is something which is not non-polluting. I mean, it is recyclable plastic that we use. So it comes under the category of non-polluting plastic industries. See, plastic is something again overrated as pollutant, but then also, I mean, few things where you cannot do without plastics also. I mean, though definitely earlier there were no plastics, but now we have come to a point where globalization is there, so much of globalization. Few things you cannot do without plastics. When you have to,
I think single-use plastic is where the
single-use
See,
plastic
again, the whole point is about, the knowledge to dispose it properly. That is lacking. Let's understand one thing. I mean, many people, tell this, and which we also have learnt right now, is there is no alternative to plastic, sadly. There is, I mean, show me one material which is as equally, which is non-reactive, which is non-odorless, which is, which can preserve things for a longer time, which can seal, moisture out and stuff like that. So we don't have a real good alternative for that. So the next best option that we have, I mean, sadly we have reached there, we are looking at a next best option, is that, how do we dispose it properly? So yeah,
basically, if you have that idea of disposing it well and owning up the waste that you're generating, the whole thing falls into place, is what I feel. Even in fact, flowers or say vegetable waste, you consider it biodegradable. You send it to the landfill, but the conditions in the landfill are not conducive for decomposition to happen, because the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste are getting mixed into it. I was going through one paper where I mean, they were conducting research on a landfill where they found newspapers as old as 40 years, I mean, which were still readable. So I mean, paper again is biodegradable, but still in over 40 years it has not been able to decompose. So decomposition will happen only if certain conducive environment is provided, and once you start segregating, then it becomes much more easier, is what I feel.
I mean, for a logical mind to understand, segregating is not very tough when you can do it. You have this much waste at your home and you can just segregate it, what is biodegradable and not biodegradable. So why is it so hard for people to understand this simple thing?
See, first is that's never been a habit. You need to develop that into a habit. And they say for anything to develop into a habit, you need to continuously do it for 21 days or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would rather want to explain it like that. It has never been our habit. That's one thing. See, per se, I mean, if I would want to look back, maybe our ancestors or grandparents for that matter, always had a pit in the house where all the kitchen waste used to go. I mean, anything that would be cooked and all that, kitchen waste used to be going there. I still remember as a child, I mean, all the postman oil dabbas or, all those used to be collected and kept. So there was clear segregation then.
Yeah.
Probably the modern ways of living in an apartment, a lack of space, I would like to give that benefit, to modern urbaners. Maybe that was the reason why we started looking down upon these, aspects of earlier life, or the way the people lived earlier, and adopting newer ways of, okay, sab ek jagah jama kar diya, let whoever wants to do it, do it.
But these are also the people who are educated,
They are. There's a difference between literacy and education. I would rather say our ancestors were much more educated than people who have bigger degrees these days and earning quite well. So,
and I mean, I have the power, the money. I mean, the money power. Why should I do it? That kind of mentality has also creeped in. No, I mean, like, somebody else can do it. It is out of sight for me, out of mind for me, basically.
I think also we are disconnecting with the reality. And
absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. See, it is multi-pronged if you look at it. One, personal, the personal willingness is missing.
Right.
Okay, that is one thing. Secondly, what you see, the political willingness is missing. Okay, I mean, that's a big thing, yeah. I mean, if at least I was going out and I saw that, the infrastructure is there in place and taking care of it, I would be propelled to do it. I mean, why is it that today, if I travel to a Singapore or to a, European country or so, why do I very consciously and neatly put my pizza carton into, a particular bin, my green waste into a particular bin? How do I do that? So it's not that I can't do it. It is just that I don't want to do it. And why? These are the reasons. One, because it is not my responsibility anymore. And whoever is taking up the responsibility, like the civic authorities, are not doing a good job out of it. So we totally lack it. Instead of building landfills, if we would have thought of, okay, I mean, what are we doing with landfills? We are just extending, and we are taking lands again and again and again. And probably, I mean, a time will come when, we will go until Nagpur and Nagpur will come until Kompalli as landfills. So this is what is happening. We are just extending our geography to maintain landfills. Instead, look at how you could recycle, do it, rejuvenate it there itself.
I mean, the concept of reuse has totally vanished from our, if I would say, I would see my mother or my mother-in-law, neatly fold the wrapping paper that would come with the gifts and keep it. I would laugh it off. I could get it for the next time anyways, buy it off for the next time. But then that is what is required now also. I mean, reuse as much as possible, recycle as much as possible. When that concept sinks in, I probably think the concept of landfill or say owning up waste would be much more easier.
I think also we tend to look, short-sightedness.
Absolutely.
So like plastic covers, though even we carry the cloth bag with us, we take the plastic cover in the vegetables.
In the cloth bag, क्या जा रहा है? एक ही तो cover है. But एक करके we are doing more harm, no? So it is about short-sightedness in your immediate action, as well as even in your within your home. I mean, you want your waste to be taken away. You don't want your home to be dirty, neither your compound wall. You don't mind it being thrown on the road. So yes, I mean, we are very myopic in that aspect.
Just building walls.
Absolutely. All of us are in ghettos.
But nature has its own ways of showing up that. I mean, the floods and all, they definitely have shown us the kind of waste we have put into our waters, which comes back to our land. So I hope we, before everything goes out of hand, we do realize.
Yeah.
How has been the journey so far? Like, it's been like 2 years and COVID also just exciting. Actually, quite. What do I say? What is that word I'm missing? I mean, quite enlightening. We've got to learn a lot of things. It's been quite a good 2 years of learning.
And there has been a shift in our ways of thinking, our ways of looking at things. Say 2 years back, when we would also look into flowers, probably we never realized, I mean, they are waste. I should have taken care of it. And how much of, I would say, decoration is required, kind of, into doing my
basically how simple things could have been, but how complicated we have made life. That's something which we have realized. You don't require, I mean, that's an Instagram post we remember we made during the COVID time. Worship needn't be complicated. All that you need is you and your belief. That's about it. I mean, for that, how complicated have we made it? And what has it generated? So these 2 years has been really a good learning for us. Opened our eyes into a lot of things which we had till now probably not realized or ignored sometimes.
Though we knew,
we never
gave
now it has actually brought us closer to those realities, and much more aware as people now. It has been exciting both personally as well as a professional. Holy Ways journey. It has really been exciting.
How was the lockdown?
Lockdown was tough, It was really a tough period. I mean, we tell that, if not for the savings that we have had, probably it would have been, I mean, there wouldn't have been, Holy Waste wouldn't have been surviving. So that's another aspect which could be linked to, why we don't see anything happening in the waste management segment. I mean, here is one idea which is actually working on waste management, and we were on the verge of shutdown. So it was like only because we could do it, we continued to pay the salaries to support our women, because
probably our willingness to do it. I mean, more than our determination to do it was more strong for us to continue with it.
So that's how we continued, and we continued to pay them all through. So it was no production, no sales happening, nothing at all. However, the positive aspect was during that time that we really worked on our formulation. We worked on our network. We worked on better ideas on what we could do after.
Once we reopened.
We reopened at that time. So that was our new learnings as well. So I guess it was a pretty interesting period.
So how did the Holy Waste name came? I mean, it sounds very interesting.
Okay, the whole point was, now I don't know how much printable this would be. The whole point is, when you see anything which is waste, what's the 1 or 2 words that you say is holy crap or holy. So the thing was, I mean, this is waste, and at that it was at some point considered to be holy. I mean, probably just 2 minutes pehle you would have chadaya hoga Bhagwan ke, Bhagwan pe, and after 2 minutes it's just pushed aside, right? And it falls into the drain. From there it goes to wherever. What happens? Then you immediately start calling it waste. So that's when we realized, okay, let's probably start calling it holy waste, and then see. But then I guess we took on to the name. It was really nice. I mean, a lot of people appreciated that, this seems catchy, and the phrase seems good. So that's then we decided that's going to be the name.
You talked about this incubator program. So can you give us an idea, what do they do and how do they help you?
So see, NAARM is the National Academy for Agriculture and Rural Management in Rajendra Nagar, and under their aegis they have this TBI which is called AIDEA. So basically they incubate ideas which have agriculture or food kind of and a linkage. What they do is just like the name would suggest, help you incubate from various stages, one stage to another stage. So when we met them, for example, we just had an idea in our hand. We were clear that okay, this is the idea that we have. What do we do next? So they will then, start linking you to people. They will, in fact, it is there that we learnt about how to make a business plan. It is there that we learnt how to, what are the things required, I mean, in terms of certifications or in terms of licensing, what might be required, what is beneficial for us. So introducing us to, say, MSMEs or MSME, the organization, or, meeting with different academia or the academic institutions, so they kind of link you. So in case you want any expert, subject matter experts on that particular thing. So anywhere that you need any kind of linkage, and most importantly, they also open a whole ecosystem of funders to you, investors and funders to you, the different kind of funds that you can work on, and they kind of make you ready for that. So from an ideation stage to validation, and then of course going to a market thing, and then scaling it up that ways.
So how does one approach them, like for somebody who has an idea?
You could walk in directly to these ideas. I mean, there is A idea, there is V Hub, there is T Hub. V Hub has also been, one of their programs which they ran with the Australian High Commission called Australian Community Slate Program. We were one of the winners there. We were chosen there. Incidentally, it was V Hub which gave this idea for us to go as an enterprise rather than be an NGO. So when we first approached, before we could go to A idea, we happened to go to V Hub, but by then they had closed down their cohort, the first cohort, so we couldn't be part of it. But then this whole idea came from there that we could begin as a enterprise, and so similarly, tech-enabled say focused companies can look at T Hub. V Hub is specifically for women entrepreneurs. So if there is any company where 50% is held by a woman, you can always go to V Hub and present your idea there. And then whenever they call for incubation or any kind of such programs, you could always apply. So the first thing is to go meet them. And if people are young in the university, then almost every university is now kind of having a e-cell kind of a program or an initiative where they could then be connected to these institutions.
It's very interesting that you shifted your focus point from starting an NGO to an enterprise. Right. So what were the advantages of starting an enterprise? Because it is also important to make anything want to work economically viable.
See, when we started, when we had this very idea of starting a company, of course at that point we didn't get into the legal entity part of it. But when we were discussing itself, we had realized that we want something which is going to be self-sustainable. We don't want to be always at the mercy of funds coming in, at somebody's grants coming in. Okay, we wanted to have a model which could generate money by itself and put that money back into business. Okay, and also we wanted to have a free hand on how we run things for our workers, because ultimately the goal was that we wanted to create a happy workplace for our women, where our women feel happy to come back every day. Okay, and also secure the future in whatever little way that we could do. So we went with a blank, an open mind when we discussed this with V Hub, is when they talked about enterprise, and that's when we came back and gave it a thought. We spoke to again a relative of ours, my sister-in-law actually was a CA. We happened to speak to her and find out what are the different legal entities that we are talking about, business entities. I mean, is it be it an NGO or a trust or a private limited company or LLP, all of these companies. So what is the difference between all of these? And finally, we chose to be a private limited company where all these were possible. In terms of say accepting funds or generating your own business, getting your own revenues, putting it back into business, not really being dependent on outsiders to run your own business, and your possibility to be attracted attracted to investors and stuff like that. So that was the main reason why we came towards this.
How does the mind shift happens like when you decided that from an NGO to an enterprise in terms of the impact that you could have?
See, mind shift happens the moment you have the idea very clear in your head. I mean, that's what
I'm saying. How, like, what new doors opened for you?
What new doors opened to us? Definitely. I mean, one big thing was about, you know, you getting to register yourself in Startup India. You know, as a startup, when you want to register yourself in Startup India, you have these criteria. So definitely, I mean, private limited company is one biggest advantage that you have there. Secondly, you are getting incubated by these people who normally do not really encourage NGOs. I mean, they want enterprises. Be it an LLP or you know, a partnership firm or private limited, but they want proper enterprises. And so we would not have been getting these kind of help from any of them.
And NGOs, all said and done, are not, I mean, as far as we have learned it, are not sustainable as such. You know, giving them continuous, source of income for the women or for anybody that you employ for your business. It's all dependent on the funds flowing in. If you are short of funds, you stop the work. You have funds, you do the work. So somehow, I mean, the basic idea that we had when we started was creating sustainable source of income for our employees. That's how I mean.
And there is also an impression of NGOs, you know, maybe they'll work, they use their money properly or not.
Yeah, of course. I mean, see, there are pros and cons for both. For us, the main push was about this, that our company needed to be self-sustainable. I mean, we didn't want to look outside. For profit or loss, whatever, it is going to be our responsibility. It is not that, you know, okay, you gave us funds and I have to give you reports every month or whatever. No, I mean, of course, we maintain our own records or whatever, but then I know I am responsible for it. So I work towards it. And I know that, you know, okay, whatever, I have to keep my business running. And to gain that kind of a revenue, I have to do a certain thing. So I need not wait for anybody to come with a check of theirs and hand it over to me. So that was our idea why we went for this.
So what is the kind of impact you were able to have in this 2 years that you started this?
Yeah, this is something which I can tell as I presented in some slides. I mean, impact, yeah, academically, if I have to talk about, yeah, we created 10 jobs, you know, for women, and there were 10 employees right now. Of course, we are less on that, but maybe another 2 or 3 months, we expect all our women to come back, or maybe we will be employing new ones. So last year, I mean, before COVID, it was 10 women. So from a 2 to a 10, that was big. We have cleaned up close to, or more than 30,000 kgs of flowers. Yeah, that's the kind of flowers that we have processed in these 2 years. And out of the 10 women, about 8 of them never had any bank account. So them opening bank accounts was a significant impact that we would like to see. That is something which we wanted
or
to.
operating an ATM.
Yeah, then they had never even operated, properly held a ATM card and gone and operated. So that was a big thing for us. So this we say is the impact that we have created. Other than, of course, that now there are people who come forward and tell, okay, there's this wedding in my house, or it's my wedding. Can you please come and collect the flowers? So that is definitely an impact that we have created. So these, while there are some tangible, there are a lot of intangibles that we take pride in saying, yeah, we were able to make that impact.
So how many temples are you collecting waste from right now?
Right now it is reduced because even the
pre-COVID,
45 temples. Now it is quite reduced, but slowly, yes, we will be picking more as and when they start opening and
I mean, as and when the flowers start pouring in the temples, that's when we will be starting.
It's great that you are doing this, but it's still a drop in the ocean. So
absolutely.
So I mean, to scale this up to bring this as a movement, what can be done right in terms of political willingness and in terms of you owning it up?
See, that way I feel, our state has gone in one good direction, getting into this progressive mindset. One good thing that happened to us was, quite early on, they recognized the work that we have done. In fact, we were chosen to deploy floral waste management for entire Telangana in the municipalities.
We are recognized as their.
The Department of Municipal Administration has chosen us, and we are currently with an MOU with them. So we are encouraging ULBs, the urban local bodies, to come forward and take care of their own floral waste. So during our visits to these municipal corporations or ULBs, we've been telling them that these are the possibilities, and if not anything, we are there to buy back your floral waste. All you need to do is just dry it and give it to us. We are willing to buy them. We will take them, or you can also ensure that you segregate and get them to one spot. We will collect it from there. So that ways, yes, I mean the state has been very encouraging in this aspect. Of course, as you said, I mean this is just the beginning, and there are lots to be done. I mean we would definitely like to see a vehicle dedicated for floral waste. Running all through the city, or maybe a couple of floral waste pickers who can go through the city, or otherwise bring it all into one place and we pick it up. So there's definitely a possibility there. Then of course a possibility of more and more people being aware. While individually they are able to spend lakhs and lakhs. I mean, we get flowers from any event which have probably, I mean, the flower decor alone has run into double-digit lakhs. Okay, I mean, not even single-digit lakhs. It's like double-digit lakhs, and yet they are people who are who also sometimes create a hesitation to pay 1,000 or 2,000 rupees for a pickup. Just that we go and pick them up at odd hours whenever the decoration is removed. But just to part away with that 2,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees, there's still that hesitation. So that mind shift definitely has to happen. I mean, like I said, you are making a checklist for your event, but do you ever see, okay, where do I dispose my waste of? That in the checklist has to happen. So yeah, both ways it has to work, from the government or from individuals.
So to make it successful, it has to be economically viable and lucrative to people, to take initiatives. So what do you have in those terms? What are your plannings to make it more lucrative to the people?
In terms of the employees, or
employees, and also people to to give you the floral waste.
Yeah. So of course, I mean I totally
and also
agree.
To political leaders.
Yes, I mean I don't know if it is only an Indian mindset, but definitely it works when you incentivize. A lot of such ideas work when you are incentivizing them. So we are approaching communities, telling them that you could give your floral waste, whatever. I mean any everyday puja thing or whatever, you collect it and keep it in. And as a community, when if anybody from your community is approaching us to buy your products, then our products, we probably give you a discount on products. So you don't need to really pay what is on the MRP. You will get a discount on that. Other than that, there is also this option of where we can give them customized return gifts for them in terms of however they want it, and the costings are going to be much lower than what they would otherwise pay outside, and it's much more a sustainable gift idea. So that's another way that we are looking at. Similarly, I mean we are also planning to talk to the civic authorities on introducing some kind of a certification program where we could label these communities or the temples these or these managers. Religious places, also the event managers, as being a green decor guy or a green community, something like giving them some kind of a recognition. So which encourages them, which motivates them to, so both in terms of money as well as in terms of fame. If there is something which we could do together, we are planning on those lines, which we are in fact approaching people to really come up with a proper that's what we think will work both ways.
And also, I mean, it's an additional source of employment also. I mean, where a country where we need most employment, this definitely becomes an additional source from waste.
See, the whole thing is about the kind of women we are choosing to work. It's not just any woman who wants to come and work here. Okay, we are actually going or looking for housewives who would otherwise, be sitting at home and idling their time. I mean, of course, they are working for their family. They are doing their household job. But then, if you look at it, there is this practically some 6 hours in a day where she can actually be an economic contributor to the economy. But that is not happening. So, by engaging such a woman here, what's happening is there is something rolling. She gets to earn something, we are getting our work done, the city is getting its dump yard cleared. Okay, there's something rolling. The customers are benefiting with a good product. So we're looking at, yes, I mean, now how do we keep our, how we keep our employees happy is, we are looking at once we start making money as such, we get back our returns, then of course, I mean, we are looking at making them equal partners in the business. Document is set, I mean, it's all decided, it's all signed off. It is just that, we are waiting for the right opportunity when we introduce things to them and tell them, I mean, girls, this is what it is. You are now, you are going to earn so much, and this is what you are in the company right now. So, as the time comes, we need to introduce those kind of, incentives, those kind of the carrots to, keep them interested in the job, to keep them motivated in the job. In fact, there was one, that I had suggested to.
Can you talk this from the point of view of you yourself were a working woman? Yeah. So what you missed there, and is that something that you want to fill in here?
Definitely.
And what are those things, and how do you want to talk in detail about what kind of impact do you want to have on the people that you are working? Women that were working for you?
I worked in a very organized sector. It was a multinational which was taking care of international freight forwarding and logistics, and we had a lot of women working all over, I mean, the globe as such. And although there are very few women who take up logistics as their profession, but still it is still considered an organized sector, and where educated people are working as such. Definitely there are things which I found as a person who was very passionate about women's issues and environmental issues. I did find a lot of things which I am now trying to fulfill in the company that I run, So things like, say for a lady, I mean, for any company for that matter, needs to realize the specific requirements of their lady employees. When you are employing, see for example, when you employ a man, you are ensuring that there is a toilet, there is a a particular canteen, there are certain smoking breaks, there are certain lunch breaks and stuff like that. Everything you create, right? I mean, there are smoking zones you create, you see all that when you're, but that is clearly lacking when you are actually employing a woman. Do you realize that, okay, there is this another section of humanity which has their own specific requirements? That is not happening. Their requirements are totally different. Now, for their biological requirements, I mean, there are requirements that, a 1 day's leave can always be given to women in a month. For that, they don't need to really go approach for a medical certificate, which has actually happened in companies that I know that I have worked with. So that we are trying to change here. We in fact give women 1 day of leave. We don't even cut the salary. We tell them that 1 day leave is okay, no problem. So similar such things, where they can come, they can talk to each other. They have their own support system with the other women. So this was one small aspect of a woman when women work. These are certain things which normally nobody thinks about. In fact, before we came in here, there was a woman who used to bring her child along because she couldn't keep the child at home. At that point, in fact, we were also thinking of, what do we do to have such childcare? We were looking at those aspects.
Probably
So yeah, I mean,
down the line we definitely
yeah.
would have one kind of
So we want a kind of a composite unit where, even say lactating mothers or pregnant ladies or, who have newly
Born babies,
born
newborn
with
babies.
their newborn babies, they could come and still work comfortably, take rest. So yes, I mean, I am definitely, yes, I am trying to fill certain gaps which I felt were missing, and as a woman I realized these are things that I need to take care. When I employ women and when I want to create such nice, happy, as I call it, I mean, I want to create happy working places for women. When they come and somewhere I guess we are achieving it when, a lady, I mean, in our staff, they laugh very loudly here. So when we talk to them, and sometimes, when we say, what's happening? So they tell, Amma, let us laugh because we don't laugh this much at home. So that's really encouraging for us.
I mean, it's a positive feedback. It gives you that nice boost. Yes, what you're doing is somewhere going into the right
So
direction.
yes, I mean, from what I was working for and now, yes, definitely I'm looking to fill those gaps.
What also extra effort that you take to make them aware of the cause that you are working for, and to feel, to actually not feel this as just another job, and that.
See, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process and a slow, what do I say, slow and regular dosages that you need to feed them with. That, you are an important part of this society because you're cleaning up the waste. When they start, there are a lot of inhibitions about touching, the garbage or cleaning it up or working. Oh, this is the work that we have to do and stuff like that. But slowly they begin to like it, mainly because, the people that they work for, the moment you start creating a happy environment around and then start telling them, this is what this does. If it was in your village and, don't you see flowers? Like on a Batukama evening or something like that, you are seeing flowers. What happens to them the next day? Ganesha festival, what happens after that the next day? So, and then your children are going and playing in those waters. Your cattle is in that thing. So, we are actually bringing those flowers here. We are working with them.
But that shift comes gradually.
Gradually. Which
yeah.
we are trying to, make them realize.
You said that you wanted to do something for the society. So where does this want to do something for the society come from? Why I'm asking this is, my channel, it's on spirituality and social responsibility. What I feel is, when you're spiritual, you tend to become socially responsible. So is there a side of you both that you're...
Yes, I guess so. We are not ritualistic.
Spiritual,
yes.
I'm saying.
Yes, no, that's what I'm trying to explain. We are spiritual. We believe in every human being being unique, important, and holy for that matter. I mean, every human being is a manifestation of a bigger cosmos. Okay, so that's what we believe in our core. Both of us believe in that. And that's also visible in the way we interact with our workers, in the way we interact with people around. And that is probably the core of our business as well. We always, and when we spoke, I mean, both of us, as I told you, both of us are mothers of, children who go to the same class. It was just that friendship. So it's just about 8 years of friendship.
Yeah.
But during this time, if we both had to have a certain similar viewpoint, definitely there was something matching there. And both of us felt that, yeah, we are here. We know these things. We have something which we could give back always. So where this came from, not really, I mean, something that I can pinpoint.
Yeah.
But we had to do something was very clear.
Very clear.
So do you follow certain tradition or spiritual practice or anything do you do in particular?
Not really. I mean, I probably do meditation. And nothing really attached to any particular form of meditation. It is just being silent. Going into silence for about 5 to 10 minutes. That's about it.
same here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not any particular tradition or any particular viewpoint that I follow, but definitely there's something, there's this connect which I mean cannot be defined as in what do I do to, you know, connect myself with myself. And there's no particular tradition that I follow.
Yeah.
We have talks on that too. I mean, once I
I always say Aham Brahmasmi. I mean, I always say, so I am Brahma, you are also Brahma. So, you know, it's like that. So both of us believe in that, and that's how we treat everything.
And that is how, I mean, probably we got more into this.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Destined to get into this, I don't know how to put it across.
So coming to the end of the conversation, so can you give some few tips or few things that people watching this can actually do on daily basis to take a step towards managing our waste?
First, I would say is own up your waste and segregate it. I mean, that would be the first and foremost realization on your part.
You need to realize you are creating your own waste. Nobody else is doing it for you. So you need to figure out a way of how you dispose it as well. So own it up. Secondly, of course, don't make things complicated unnecessarily. Keep it simple. These are probably the two things that we have to say because of our work.
After watching this video, many people might want to, you know, take a step, or they might also want to open a collection center maybe in their areas.
That would be nice.
Yeah. At least one person can own it up and then collect some floral waste and can get
and send it to us. Yes.
So I'm actually thinking that I'll attach a Google form in the description.
Yes, please.
And they can show their interest, and then we can take it forward. You can take it forward from there. Because I don't want this video to be something, you know, just sitting and talking. Because some actionable thing has to happen on it.
That would be really good.
And anything else that they can do.
Yeah. We cannot train people in making agarbattis. That's something which I want to tell. We cannot,
neither
because
in making soaps.
So definitely, I mean, people can you know, become our soldiers in telling, or our own you know, soldiers for the eco war that we are fighting of, you know, telling us where are the sources of floral waste, connect us with people that they know. And also, if they have the wherewithal to do it, then please, you know, become collection centers, and we will collect. We will buy it from them. We will buy back those flowers from them. So that those will be a very good things. So indirectly, I mean, you are actually helping others gain employment. So any kilo of flower that comes is only increasing the chances to employ a new worker here.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thanks.
Thanks for covering us.